to GhMixMixx. My name, as you know, Kwesi E, son, Baako. On the line right now, I have a gentleman who has been waiting, and I have been waiting to have this discussion with. It's the subject that a lot of people do not want to touch, but I think that this discussion should be had. Should John Mahama, considering his likability at the moment, just be retained by the NDC without contest ahead of the 2024 elections? Or should there be contest so that other options could come out? On the phone right now, I should say, is a man who has been in the trenches with the party from, who knows, a very long time. Sacut Amenga-Etego is on the line right now. He's a political journalist and an opposition activist. Welcome to GhMixMixx, Sacut.
Thank you very much, my brother Baako.
Kwesi.
Baako.
Thank you very much.
Baako.
Two very different people. And full disclosure, Sacut. Yes, yes.
That's right.
And no relation, by the way. And for full disclosure, Sacut is a personal friend also. Let's get into it, Sacut. I want you to answer yes or no to the first question for me. Should the NDC retain John Mahama for the 2024 elections?
Well, I guess that's...
No. I want a yes or no answer here.
Well, a yes or no answer may be so simple. I think if Mahama is the shortest bet to win the election for 2024, to win power, then yes.
That does not answer my question, Sacut. That doesn't answer my question, but okay, let's move on. Say again?
If it's the best bet for power, then yes. Because as we speak now, it's a question of, as I said, that you earlier was a question of power or principle. And so if you ask me if Mahama should be maintained or retained, I'll say yes if he's the one who will surely win power.
So let's go to sleep, Sacut. So then let's go to sleep. So why are we here? We should go to sleep.
No, we cannot go to sleep. You know why? Because that answer that I just gave you is based on my wish for the NDC to win power. It's not based on the objective reality or scientific or social.
So now let's get into the objective reality. Taking off your Sacut hat and putting on your Sacut the analyst hat. Should that be the case?
Well, I would say that there must be a contest. If Mahama is the one who is going to lead the NDC, why do I say that? Because there is a scientific basis for internal elections in the party. That's why the Constitution makes it clear that every 4 years, the party does not only do elections at the national level, but also from the branch, the constituency, the regional levels, because at the end of the day, this process which takes several months, is a process that ends up energizing the party, people base, also oiling the engines of the party machinery, and to make it, to bring it out of apathy and to make it ready for an election. And so for that purpose, for the purpose of that process and the benefit of that process, an internal election is crucial. Even if it is automatic or it is obvious that the personality called around Mahama will not allow anybody to be able to unseat Mahama as the leader of the NDC going to 2024.
So many people suggest that this is a peculiar situation, right? We see what's going on in the country right now. The country's economics is in shambles, to speak the bare truth. Human rights is a farce. Press freedom is totally gone down the drain. People suggest that this is crucial times that call for crucial measures. Should we just acknowledge that and put somebody that has a very high chance of winning power for the NDC up for the elections and just, go to rest?
Yes. You see, the point is that at the end of the day, because it's a democratic Congress, The process that cannot be truncated just for the purpose of what is obvious to us. What may be obvious to the progressive forces in the party may not be obvious to the reactionary forces in the party. What is obvious to the reactionary forces may not be the same, they may not be obvious to the revolutionary forces. Don't forget the Democratic Congress, all kinds of political forces within that do not necessarily see things from the same perspective. And that is why the process is crucial. That's why there has to be a center that then governs all these opinions, all these diversity. But the surest way to keep it democratic is to allow this process and make sure that the obvious option is the one who will give us power. And at this point, if you ask me for my individual opinion, being in Ghana for at least for the past 1 year ago and be on the ground, I can assure you that the kind of popularity that John Mahama enjoys among the masses of the NDC is so huge. But the problem is that the popularity of Mahama or the personality called around Mahama will not be useful after 2024.
Aha.
Therefore,
we'll get to that part of the discussion. We'll get to that part of the discussion, Sacut. But I want us to build a point up to that part, all right? Because that will be another phase that the party will be going to. But I want us to strategically build up to that point. Now, elections cost money. You know this. Being, out there in the trenches for so long. The party, I don't know how much money you guys have, I should say. And I would assume that you are aware that 2024 is going to be gargantuan. Going by what your party is accusing, i.e. the NPP stashing away money, whatnot, if that is true, then they will have a lot of money to do what they need to do in 2024. Shouldn't you save your pennies and just go ahead, save it for 2024?
Okay, but I think this is a very popular argument, but you have to also look at it more critically and understand the fact that money has never, even though money is an X factor in the election, money has never been the determinant of the outcome of elections. Otherwise, incumbent parties would not have lost elections in 2000, in 2008, in 2016, and the NDC had more money than the NDC in 2016. But the money could not save the NDC. And so we can emphasize money, but we can't.
So I agree with you up to a point, right? But my challenge with what you're saying is that if the NDC was in power, then your argument would stick. But right now, as we speak, they're in a position trying to wrestle power. So every penny counts.
Yes. But at the end of the day, only money alone is not enough. For example, in 2020, when the NPP got brutal and they even shot people in the Mahamas and killed them, money was not necessary to be able to turn around the outcome. Courage was more important. Integrity of the leadership was more important. And the ability to mobilize the masses to get on the street to resist was more important than money. And that's the goal now. Now, there was when there was a by-election, there was a shooting, which means that the incumbent government decided to apply force rather than follow the democratic process. The money could not have been the solution. You need to have a certain moral high ground as an opposition party to be accepted by the people, for the people to follow you when you call them out on the street.
That's all very true, but we're talking about funding elections, which you and I will agree requires some financial muscle. But let's move on, because we have a lot of questions to go through, and I really want to go through every single question that I have on my paper here with you. So, my next question to you is this: don't you have a fear that some people within your party could be compromised and be used by the opposition, your opposition or other forces that may have interest to scuttle your base and mess up your chances for 2024 again, if you don't just agree that, hey, John Mahama has the likability, let's put him forward?
Yes, I will answer that question. But before that, let me say that the money, the question of money, and the internal elections and reorganization, they go hand in hand, because it takes money, fundraising, to be able to organize. Part of the reason of the engine is to put money into the grassroots organs of the party at the base level.
Yes, you put money. Money, that's the point.
That's right. Exactly. And therefore, which is supposed to practice towards the 2024 election.
Okay.
So for me, that is still in line.
Point made.
Secondly, it is true that yes, we will probably have to put our resources in one basket and try to push instead of shortening ourselves and all of that. But don't forget, if you talk about opposition influencing or the opponent influencing, they rather have a greater opportunity to infiltrate and influence agreed forces within if there's no internal election. Because you have an excuse to say that there's a certain, a lack of democracy, there's a certain lack of participation in the process, and therefore they will have legitimate concerns, and then they will then be target or for the opponents who want to use them. But if there's a certain election, everybody is allowed to participate, air their views, and at the end of the day, Mahama is chosen, then there's no room for anybody outside of the party to come in and influence anybody, because at the end of the day, everybody has been given the opportunity to participate democratically in this process.
I think that point is beautifully made.
For Mahama,
I think that point is beautifully made. Okay, so now let's reflect. Let's flashback though. John Mahama of blessed memory.
Yes.
Contested with Nana Kunedu Rawlings.
Right.
She did not accept the results of that contest very well.
Right.
And then we all know what happened.
Yes.
There was such a seismic crack within the party during this thing.
Yes.
Don't you fear that a similar thing could happen this year? Are there no lessons to be learned from the Kunedu Rawlings at the Mills contest?
But my brother, President Mills, over 3% is very, which was very, very, very insignificant. And it led to all kinds of fault lines. That's true. But you see, in the year 2000, when it is that President Rawlings himself held up the hand of President Mills and did not allow democratic contest, it created greater fault lines for the NDC. It led to breakaway from the NDC. So it's not the content or the process that creates the problem. It is the reaction to the process. And I would prefer even a bad reaction of that democratic contest to a reaction that will come as a result of no contest at all. And so I'm thinking that listen, Konadu may have, and highlighted herself politically after the election because she refused to be a good spouse, a woman, to be a good team player, to accept the gift. But it is not her contesting Mills that created the fault lines. It is because the process is beautiful. It's been created by the Constitution, by principle. And therefore, if you want to look at it from that point of view, you may look at it from one side. I think a contest is not a recipe for confusion with the party. It's rather a platform for expression, everybody's expression, so that at the end of the day, everybody accepts the leader who's chosen. Because it is not good for any leader to be handed power on the silver platter. It is because then it will corrupt them even more. You need to earn it. So if Mahama, as popular as he is, as I can see now, he should not be afraid to contest anybody at all in the NDC. And it's an opportunity for the grassroots to be energized, and it should be encouraged in principle. But if you ask me if anybody can win against Mahama, I say no.
I was just about to ask you that. What are the credible alternatives? What I know, I've heard of names like Dr. Kovna before, fine gentleman.
Yes.
But judging from John Mahama's track record,
yes,
not just the popularity, but he actually has a track record. Let's face it.
Yes.
Versus Kovna before, who has never been president, who has even had the opportunity to be president, to have anything like that to show. Shouldn't Kovna before and others just wait for 4 years and let Mahama finish his term and then, plan and project from there?
I'm not here to speak for anybody, I'm not here to speak for anybody, but I think even if you mentioned Kovna before, and track record, I would say, if you look at the Kovna to Mahama, they are both men of substance. Kovna before may not have as much political experience as President Mahama, but he's also a man who has built businesses for over 30-40 years. He's one of the biggest business people in Ghana, and that is the track record for economics, for managing economy, etc. Bank of Ghana, minister, blah blah. But of course, that is why I insist that there's a lot of talent in the NDC. They abound, and if only they will come out and they will show faces, who probably can say, "Oh, we have some credible alternatives." Unfortunately, I think they are idea that Mahama is a short back, and the fact that people have chosen power over principle, people cannot, even do the comparisons because they feel like we want power, Mahama with the power for us, what do we have to consider our people? But I can assure you that there are a lot of alternatives, and that's why it is important that we look at how or who will inherit Mahama after 2024, because that question must be answered, whether today or tomorrow.
And now we are at that part of the discussion. So, there is life post Mahama, right?
That's right.
Let's say Mahama wins the contest, does his best in 4 years. Let's say Mahama has the magic wand to solve all of Ghana's problems. What then, after 4 years?
That's right. What then after 4 years? If you ask me this question, I will say that the people who are visionaries within the party will have to start thinking beyond power in 2024. Because I've said it to you and I'll repeat it, if you win the power but you cannot maintain it or sustain it, then there's no point. Because you are not going to be able to bring any transformation or any development to the people. If you win power for 4 years and you have to get out, you need to maintain it, sustain it, be able to carry out your development programs. And therefore, we must think about sustainability. If you are thinking about winning power in 2024, we must think about sustainability. How do we sustain it? Who comes to replace Mahama? And that is what people think in the party, as I've been discussing and listening to many people, elders, younger people. A lot of people think that it's important that the choice of a rally is done very consciously, bearing in mind that we still don't have a natural center of the party. Mahama is the default center of the party because automatically he's the only former president, he's the guy who's going to lead us in elections, and therefore everybody defers to him. But it's by default. If Mahama is out in 2028 or whenever, the party will still be the center, and the center must be long-lasting, must be futuristic. The center must be able to bring everybody together.
Sacut,
and therefore,
Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman is a fine specimen of a candidate, of a political figure, isn't she?
Yes.
And then also, like as I've said to you in a private conversation, the NDC would have the opportunity to give Ghana its first female president. Do you think that's something worth considering?
It is something that is ideal and is worth considering. But the principle, I've said to you already, not only in principle, but in practice, I have supported female to run for president. I believe that the feminine power will do a lot of good to our people if they get that apex. But having said that, the person must be somebody who emerges from the ranks of the party that has that total and encompassing support. That is respected and considered by the cadres, by the radical left, by the right wing people within the party, the centrists within the party, all these forces.
Sacut,
Congress.
we know that the NDC came from, we know the origins of the NDC, we know its background, we know its history, everything. But the NDC has evolved, wouldn't you say? Because at this point, there are people within the NDC who have no knowledge, who have no actual experience of things like June 4th or December 31st. The party is evolving. Don't you think the party should make room? And as you yourself said, the party comprises of all these different forces. Don't you think the party should make room for progressive and elements who will contribute to the party, like Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman?
But that's the point. If you have no idea about the historical existence of this party, you have no idea about how this party was born, etc. How are you going to, in principle, and even ideologically, how are you going to lead this party that has a history? Because if you don't know your history, you definitely you'll be like a tribal room.
Sacut, I believe Nana Opoku-Agyeman was alive during the revolution. I'm sure she knows what happened. I'm sure she knows the history of the party.
But being alive doesn't mean you believe in this principle or you believe in all this antecedent. And I'm not saying she doesn't believe in it. I'm not saying so. I'm just saying that listen, the person must have that wider appeal. Of course, also that historical knowledge and belief in this principle. I'm also willing to espouse these principles, to espouse them, not ashamed of the past or the history of this party. It's crucial. Because whether you like it or not, you cannot start talking about NDC from the year 2000 in 1992. It didn't start from 1992. It started from PNDs.
Okay, if I may, Sacut, Professor John Mahama was practically plucked from academia, right?
That's right.
And brought, to politics.
That's right.
He's been one of your final leaders, wouldn't you say?
Professor Mills, may his soul rest in peace, was a very fine leader. But unfortunately, Professor Mills was brought in undemocratically to create fault lines within the party that still exists. It even created the biggest internal uprising within the party. At the end of the day, even the person who chose Professor Mills became at loggerhead. Professor Mills, Professor Mills died in the government when it is that he was sick and he was forced to rule. So you may use him as an example. But I don't think it was such a perfect example, because at the end of the day, if Professor Mills was somebody who had risen from the ranks, I think he would have faced less problems within the party. If he had been democratically elected, he would have faced less problems within the party than he did. And that's why it's important that when Mahama is going, don't forget, because Mahama is the default center now, it is his historical responsibility not only to win power for the NDC, but also to ensure that there's continuity, that a strong, natural, authentic center is created. That has to be something that has to come from Iran, not like an individual choice, not like Muhammad did legal, not somebody that he has to choose from the academia. It has to be something that has to be renewed. Don't forget, the NDC's constitution was written just around Rawlings as the individual center. Now that Rawlings is not there, to build a new center, the constitution must be rewritten. And then that natural center will spring out of it. So it doesn't matter which the flag bearer goes, but that center exists. It is like the Leviathan, like the supreme authority within the party. That is crucial. And Mahama has the responsibility to bring that about. And I'm not too sure that you can bring that about by just plugging somebody that don't really have everybody behind them as the leader. That is my personal opinion. But who knows?
Okay. All right. I wish we could explore that further, but maybe for another time we would pick that by itself and dissect it further, because there's still a few questions I want to go through with you, Sacut. We have a little time left, so I would like to move a little bit away from that subject and look at the NDC as an opposition in Parliament, right? A very complex creature, wouldn't you say?
As a matter of fact, I'm one of the opposition activists, of the NDC, who are really, really disappointed in my party leadership right now. Why? Because I find the leadership to be so passive. The passivity within the opposition party is very, very telling, because it is as if we are actually leaderless. Because there's so much opportunity for the NDC to galvanize the people, mobilize the masses, but it's not happening. But why? That's why all the impunity going on in this country right now under this President Akufo-Addo, the lawlessness in the security services, the crackdown on the media and free press, the corruption that is going on, just generally things, the killing that are going on. And yet, the opposition has been reduced to speaking English. The members in Parliament have been reduced to speaking English, but no action whatsoever. And for me, I think it's because many of the leaders they are not in tune with modern times. Modern scientific leadership.
Is that what it is, or as it was purported to be suggested by your general secretary, that you just want the MPP to mess up so badly that the NDC naturally becomes an alternative in 2024?
Honestly, for me, I think that's a very lazy way of thinking. If you say that you are just going to go around and win the election based on the weakness of your opponent, but not based on your own strength, that means you are not working with strategy. That means it's like lotto. You have to take lotto. That is not how we are going to win power and govern. You have to have your own strategy, your own tactics, independent of the weakness of your opponent. When you do a SWOT analysis, you don't just look at it. You look at all around. So the general secretary, I think he's saying this because perhaps you challenge you to come up with some fresh ideas. It doesn't have them, so he just says we don't even need ideas because the opponents are already losing. That is not the scientific way to approach a president of a party to win election. I think
let me let me get a little bit on the controversial tip, and I'm not afraid to do so, because we've heard of stories, about people within the parliamentary leadership who are loggerheads with John Dramani Mahama, and for that reason are doing things that are not in his best favor. Now, I look at a situation like Hawa Yakubu, whose bodyguard shot somebody. I look at somebody like, I really don't want to mention it, but I look at that whole process and how we still have leaders like Ken Oforiatta in government today. It makes me think that the opposition is worse than the government.
Indeed. For me, that's why I'm busy by the problem that at this point, when you try to kind of do self-introspection, the perception is that you are pissing in, or you are being a stumbling block to winning power. That's the problem. So many people don't want to speak up. But I think what has gone on in Parliament over the past couple of months has even confused the followers of the opposition. People are wondering exactly what is going on. Is this theatrics? Is this just appearances? What exactly is the point? Look at Speaker Bagbe. People thought that Speaker Bagbe is going to work for the opposition. It seems that Speaker Bagbe is working more for the government and for his personal interest than for the opposition, than for the people. Who would imagine that the Speaker will be at loggerheads with members of the minority in Parliament? The only explanation that I can really master is that these people have decided that whatever benefit them personally, they will resist the incompetent minister that were appointed. But they end up embracing all of them without any explanation. And that is why it is important for me, if you are a leader and you fail, there has to be rotation. It's a rotational thing. A rotational leadership, when you fail, somebody takes over. I don't believe in the situation where people feel like they are rewarded. That's what has happened to our party. When party identities failed in 2016, and they were rewarded with positions they failed again in 2020, and they still want to even lead. Imagine. Who
are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Let's mention some names. And while you are show us who are some of the other square pegs in round holes.
The obvious one is our chairman, for example, who in 2016 was the director of elections, and in 2016 the party was in power, and yet the NDC could not independently collect results. That was 2016. But before 2020, this same chairman, this same opposition was then made the national chairman. Again, he supervised the elections, and in 2020 we could not independently collect results. He still wants to be chairman again. So what is his motivation? Now you have failed for 8 years. You are just asking us to vote for you. Is it because they have reduced the whole internal election to money crassy, plutocracy, so that he thinks that you have money in his pocket, he can just buy the delegate? That is the reason why we are where we are. Because this same guy, who's our chairman, who's supposed to be our chief spokesman or whatever, or our leader in opposition, this guy has been caught on tape making incendiary remarks, and he's put in court for trial, which means that he's totally compromised.
Well, it's a court matter, so we cannot say he's compromised, right? It's the matter that's still in court. So
where you are facing prison.
Oh, okay, that's what you mean. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, all right. Apart from Ofosu Ampofu, though, he's just one person, right? And if you ask me, a lot of the decisions that are taken within the party, I don't know how much influence he has over that. There definitely are some people that are not making things take in your party, and it appears to me from where I sit that there are some people within the machinery of the NDC who are not necessarily very interested in John Mahama becoming your flag bearer for the next elections. Before we go to Sacut, do you think your party is complacent? Do you think the NPP has messed up so badly that the NDC think it's a done deal, so let's just go to sleep?
That is exactly what I think, and that is exactly what I'm afraid. That the consequences will be regrettable, because you cannot go to sleep and start sharing positions among yourselves based on the weaknesses of the ruling government. Because these are people in government, they have a plan. They said they want to break the aid. So if they want to break the aid, they have this clear plan that they have articulated. Instead of going to sleep, instead of starting to share positions among themselves, like some of the people are doing now within the NDC. Even 2 clear years to the elections, or 3 clear elections, are sharing position among themselves. What it means that before you know, you will be beaten and you start crying wolf and say the election is stolen. Because this is like musical chair, okay? When the music is playing, you can be dancing the music, but don't forget that when the music stops and you are not on the chair, you cannot, you have nowhere to play. There's no excuses, there's no explanation. Once the music stops and you're not on the chair, you get off the stage. So instead of concentrating on the chair, you're concentrating on the music, dancing to the Azondo. Then you play on the chair. And you start complaining that the thing has been stolen. That's the problem. So we have to be disciplined. We have to protect, to act as though this is still a do or die affair. That these people are going to do everything to kill and maim to maintain power because there's precedent.
Okay.
What is our plan? What is our plan? What exactly the plan beyond the weaknesses of the NDC government? Because these guys are afraid to use the gun, the arm. So if you don't have a plan to mobilize the people, because you must prove to us now, through the mobilization of you on the street, to show that when the 2024 comes and the people use the same tactics, brutal tactics, that you have the ability to marshal forces, marshal the masses to resist. But if you cannot get the people to get out on the street to protest against the killing of Tata, the killing at the Grandam, the killing at the Timasa, the killing of Swami, if you cannot marshal the people to do this, how can you convince us that when they
all right,
the gun,
all right,
the gun, that you can do anything about it?
Okay, so Sacut, we're running out of time, but June 4th, there is an announcement of a demonstration that is going to take place. Now, June 4th, we all know what happened on June 4th.
Right.
How strategic, or how, not strategic, how symbolic is, you know, the placing of this demonstration on June 4th, and tell us a little bit about it before we go.
That's right. I thank you very much for this question. I think June 4th, the stage of this demonstration on June 4th is as strategic as it is symbolic, because June 4th is the day that, of course, may link to the opposition NDC, but it was also a day that all Ghanaians, there was no NDC in June 4, 1979. All Ghanaians said enough is enough. They came out on the street, the students, everybody from everywhere.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes. So as I was saying, the choice of June 4 this year for this demonstration against the impunity of this ruling government, the NPP, this day is as strategic as it is symbolic. Why do I say so? Because in June 4, in 1979, what happened in our country was something that was spontaneous, without necessarily any organized leadership. The students, the farmers, the marketmen, the fishermen, the taxi drivers, everybody, the factory workers just said enough is enough. They were tired of corruption, they were tired of impunity by government officials, they were tired of the insensitivity, they were tired of everything. They said enough is enough. When everybody erupted on the street, and then natural leadership emerged, men with courage, like President Rawlings and his friends, they emerged and became the natural leaders of this movement, this spontaneous movement that then led to the 1979 the takeover, and then subsequently 1981 takeover, etc., etc. So it means that all this while that we've been going through this impunity without really a proper reaction from the people. Due for maybe that day that people may be reminded that they don't need some NDC guy or some CPP guy to come and direct us, to tell us to fight for our rights. We will stand up. We remember the history. We will wake up. We will resist. And perhaps when that happens, then the people may listen, because then it is not NDC or opposition party that is doing it, but this is the masses who are resisting. You cannot kill the masses, no matter what you do. So I'm hoping that June 4 will be an opportunity where all the opposition forces, the splinter forces, whether it affects the country or movement, or whether it is AFA, or whether it is the main opposition NDC or CPP or PSC, everybody will just come together and say, Ghana first, we want to rescue Ghana from this reckless government with so much impunity. The wickedness must stop, the looting must stop, the killing must stop, and so everybody will come out of this. I'm hoping that this is the largest organized demonstration, and I'm also hoping it is spontaneous, which means that whether you're NDC or NDC, you come out because you are suffering the economy, you are suffering the unjust laws, you are suffering the impunity services, and you are going to resist. So I am going to go out. I'm going to encourage a lot of people to go out. I'm going to advertise. I'm going to talk to a lot of young people to come out on the street. This is our opportunity for us to be able to show that resistance, that righteous indignation, that listen, we may be docile, we may be passive, but we have it in us to resist oppressors' rule. This is when we have to bring those words to life, resisting oppressors' rule. And Akufo-Addo probably will open his eyes and listen. We hope. So, but this is a very crucial demonstration that I hope that Ghanaians will come out to demonstrate their anger, their frustration, their rage. This is a great opportunity for all of us. And for us who are having a microphone, this is an opportunity for us to amplify this, the need for this mass resistance on Q4, and if possible to be part of it and to direct the masses and lead the masses.
Thank you so very much, Sacut. And I hate to have the last word on my show, so I'll come back to you after I make this point. But I need to make this point that Ghanaians wouldn't have had to pour on the streets if the opposition was on its feet. A lot of the things that people are complaining about could have been solved by the opposition. The opposition, like I said before, seems to me a worse problem than the government. And the government is a problem, don't forget. The governance of Ghana currently is a problem, but the opposition appears to be a bigger problem. Sacut, your last words before we go.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, my brother, for giving me this global platform of yours to speak and amplify the voice of the masses of our people. And I want you to know that I have massive respect, and admiration for you. Since day one, I will continue to be in touch and to interact, and let's continue to speak for our people, because we have the power of the microphone that the masses do not have. Let's be on the side of the people always. Thank you, my brother. That's
where we stand, always on the side of the people, never on the side of a political party. Always on the side of the people. Thank you very much, and I want to say that the respect is mutual, my brother. Meanwhile, there will be a panel discussion on speaking truth to power on this platform, and I'm expecting you to show up for that discussion, sir.
I'm already on board. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, and see you next time. This has been GhMixMixx. My name is Kwesi E, Baako. I come in peace. I come not to please. I'll see you next episode. Have a good time. Goodbye.